Seth Stokes, 106.3 WORD News here at the Greenville County Sheriff's Office with Master Deputy Robert Curtis. We're here talking about the opioid issue that's been plaguing Greenville and plaguing South Carolina and really the entire United States. I thank you for taking some time out of your day to join me and talk to me about this. Just kind of off the top, what has it been like dealing with this opioid issue?
You know, I'd almost say it's not even an issue anymore. It's risen to the level of an epidemic. We've had to change the way we're dealing with things. We've had to change our training, how we handle these calls. Law enforcement is now being issued Narcan, which is something I didn't think we'd ever do, but we're now doing it. We're having to issue it to deputies, and we're often the first responders on these calls, and these deputies are administering life-saving drugs to try to counteract this epidemic.
So what's been, other than that, what has been the biggest difference in having to deal with this opposed to any other type of drug?
The abundance of it and how rapidly it's hit the streets. This stems from opioid dependence, where people are taking prescription medication. Maybe they develop an addiction, a tolerance, and they keep seeking more and more of that high. And what happens is drug dealers find an illicit market out there and start distributing illegally fentanyl and substances like this, and people don't know what they're buying. You don't know what you're getting. You don't know what's in that pill or what's in that powder. So they think they're going to be fine, and they take one dose, and that dose ends up being the last dose.
Is it, since it's grown to, as you called it, epidemic levels, do you think that's a matter of it's easier to get, maybe a little cheaper to get? Like, what do you think has caused that?
It's extremely abundant on the streets. It's cheap. There's a high profitability for the drug dealers, and they're getting this stuff shipped in from China. It's crossing our borders, both the northern and southern border, and it's hit the streets like I haven't seen. 10 years ago, if I made a heroin case, I was excited. Now we're making them all the time.
Oh, wow.
Constantly making them. And opioids, these pain medicines. We have more prescription pain medicine, more prescribed pain medicines than we do residents in this state. Almost 1 million more.
Oh, wow.
So it's out there, and it's abundantly out there, and it's easy to get your hands on, and this is all leading to the epidemic and the increase in death.
So in your opinion, what can be done to knock some of this down? Obviously, like any other drug, it's going to be almost impossible to completely wipe it off the streets, but what can you do to knock these numbers down?
It's absolutely going to be impossible, but it needs to be a two-front war. We're going to have to try to curb the supply, but also the demand. We're going to have to do treatment. It's one thing for a deputy to go out and Narcan somebody and bring them back to life from an overdose. That is a short-term fix, because tomorrow that person is going to be seeking that high. And unless we get some kind of treatment, some kind of program to get these people the help they need, which there's numerous programs out there, okay? Unless these people, we can get them to go to these programs and start seeking treatment, it's going to be a hard war to fight. As long as there's a demand for it, illegal drug dealers are going to find a way to get it here.
Now, I know lawmakers are down in Columbia. They're trying to come up with different bills and laws to pass to help curb this issue. One of those is the Good Samaritan bill that says that, the way I understand it, if a group of people are involved, someone overdoses, they call 911. When police and EMS get there, the bystanders that were with them won't get arrested. Is that something that y'all agree with? Is that helpful? And what can law enforcement and lawmakers do to work hand in hand with this issue?
Oh, no, we absolutely agree with it. We don't want to see anybody die over drug use. That is not what we're about. We're about prevention and getting these drugs off the street. So absolutely we support that law. If a friend's overdosing, call us. We're not going to come in and judge you. We're not going to come in and try to arrest you. We're going to come in and try to help that person, okay? That's a great law. They're talking about making Narcan over the counter. And that's a law they're looking at. And that would be great, because some of the first people to find a drug overdose are friends and family. Mm-hmm. So if your significant other, your older son's addicted to drugs, it may not be bad once this law passes to go get some Narcan, because you may walk in on him overdosing and be able to help him. So yeah, Good Samaritan Act, we absolutely support it. We want to know, we want to be able to help. But we also need those people to want to get help,
right,
to get off this addiction.
So if you're out there and if you're a citizen and you see that there's an issue, is there a number to call or anything like that?
The first number I tell them to call is if they think it's an overdose or something like that, which we've had. We've had people in cars passed out at red lights. Call 911. Get help on the way. Outside of that, I'd encourage you to contact the sheriff's office non-emergency number if you suspect some drug activity or suspect things like that. You can call 271-5210. They'll put you in touch with Vice and Narcotics. I'd encourage parents who have these prescription pills at their house to keep a watch on them, because that's where it starts, And if they're done with them, we have places to dispose of them. You can come to the LEC and drop off your old prescription pills. We'll dispose of them properly. But it's going to take all of us on both sides to solve this problem.
So when you get the call and you go out there on a potential bust, like what are the steps you have to take to make sure things go smoothly?
Some changes we have to make. We have to be careful in testing this stuff. 2 milligrams to a non-opioid user can be deadly. That barely covers the date on a penny. That's how small we're talking. So we're talking about we had to get away from latex gloves because this can be absorbed transdermally through the skin. And it could go through latex gloves. So we went to nitrile gloves. We'll use masks or respirators when we're dealing with these powders. We're very cautious about how we test them. And if we suspect we've got a large quantity of it, we'll just send it to the lab, seal it up and send it to the lab and let them safely test it. Because we've had officers across the country who's opened a bag, accidentally inhaled some, and ended up overdosing on the spot.
Wow. So it's dangerous for not only the people using it, but the people trying to stop it.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time today, sir. Thank you for everything you're doing for the community, and we'll be in touch.
All right. Thank you so much.
This is Seth Stokes, 106.3 WORD News.